And you can actually hear me now. Amazing. It's 8 o'clock. The stream is starting. So, yeah, let's get this started. Let's go to my main view, and there we have the Droste effect again. Alright, so I've made a couple of changes to my microphone. It should be working better now. I've changed the lighting a little bit so you can see my ugly mug even better than before. Amazing. I don't actually have all that many subscribers yet, so I'm just quickly going to spend a couple of seconds promoting myself. In a couple of different places. You can watch along if you want. Here we go. Let's just quickly go into the RimWorld one again. We still haven't been made a content creator, so I still can't actually post in the channel that is meant to do this sort of thing. So, that means that I can still do this in the main channel, right? That's what it's for. So let's set up the link. I honestly should know this link by now, but it's something with Twitch. That's where it starts. And then my channel is fluffier than that. I should really know this by now. And I can look at myself. Never see this to amaze me. This is where I was, right? Yeah. Alright, copy that, enter that, and we'll put that in mods general as well, and we'll put one more in mod dev. And I'm also actually a member of... Am I still? Apparently not. Okay. No, that's not gonna be helpful. In that, but that's not helpful. None of this is going to be very helpful. I could do my Reddit thing again, try to bump it. Because that's probably been buried. I'm allowed to do this like once a day, right? So I'll just make a new topic. I feel like such a damn spammer, but I need to get things out of here, so yeah, that'll do. And I need to flare it. I can only do that afterwards, right? Yeah. So this would be, I don't know, guide, suggestion, misc. Misc? I have no idea. I'm probably not allowed to do this, but... Alright, there we go. Let's see if anybody joins with that. Alright. So, the plan for today is... we worked on WorkTap a little bit yesterday. We still have one outstanding issue on that because I, again, didn't test it enough, apparently. So there's an issue where the top row of the WorkTap, if you highlight it, it gets like quadruple highlighted or something. It just gets highlighted too much. So we're going to look at that quickly. And I want to work through a couple more pull requests for Colony Manager. That should also be the stream title, but I'm not sure, so let's just make sure it is. Pull requests for Colony Manager. Alright, that says it's updated successfully, so we'll see what happens. All right. We want to look at the pull requests. We should get to our Kanban board and get everything in a nice location. I mean, they're all for colony manager, so don't really need to do that. And let's just start from the top. So this one was the earliest one that we haven't looked at yet. This is by Marks again. The guy's been busy a lot on adding different features to colony manager, which is really cool. I should really get that out of the way. Yeah, that's better. Some related stuff. Let's just open it on GitHub. That makes it a little bit easier. Preference to do it differently, so rebase this out of it to sort it separately then. Okay, so that might be where the different branches came for. Ready to review again. It's in October. It's terrible. Contains unrelated feature no longer contains a compiled DLL. Yeah, sure. Move the milk and shear options to be in the slaughter and train. Instead of the ordering slaughter, milk, shear, train, because the same order in which your work is actually appear in the work type. Sure, that seems fine. Thank you for the update. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Yeah, that might be an issue because some animals have different wool growth periods. So we should, if we look at that, we should base it on. We have information on how long it takes for an animal to completely grow the wool. So if we want them to be put in an area before their wool is ready, then we can just say like, okay, 2 hours before or a day before or whatever. Which should be fine. Yeah. So that's a slider. Oh Jesus, they've done a lot on this. So this is hungry animals to an area. Jesus. What else have we got? Ready for milking and shearing. Restricted training area without main restricts area. Alright, that seems to be a separate thing, so we can look at that separately. That's the one we were looking at, and that's just a different one. Okay. Well, let's just check it out. Let's boot up Visual Studio. And let's quickly check if somebody replied to this stuff. Yeah, not much going on there. And I'm getting ignored there. It's fair enough. Yeah, so they were adding a slider, but you really shouldn't have to add a slider because the length of time it takes for wool to grow to completion is a known variable that's def defined. So we should be able to just get that information. Yeah, sure, but shearing fullness. Yeah. So this is colony manager. We'll just check the branch out and give it a quick look. Yeah, so we are in colony manager. I'm not sure why it's showing me all of my sources. It does that sometimes, even though it's in one single Git repository. But, oh well. Alright, that's all loaded up. And let's pull that one down. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted. I'm just starting this out, so I'm just starting to set up and stuff. And it's the second time I stream for real, so I'm still looking at if people are actually watching and stuff like that. Which we've got 2 people watching, one of which is a bot, and one of which is Editu. So, hi Editu, glad you're here. All right. We were looking at the actual pull request. So this is just a translation. Yeah, we'll look at that later because I think the 94% is not going to stick around. These are the milk areas, and these are whether or not you want to send them there. That's fine. Yeah, we start them off as just off. We scribe them. We scribe the areas. That's all fine. And these are the area restrictions. And then this is talking about the yeah, the order of the jobs that we was talking about. That seems fine. That's not a problem. Again, this hard-coded value I want to look at. And this is the actual tab. So this is just yeah, what it looks like, I suppose. All right, let's just quickly have a look at that. Sure, just delete the first 3 shortcuts and then you get to the real one. That makes sense. Active colony managers already there, mod managers there. Sure. Okay. Let's just have a look. All right. We've got the manager, and this would be under the livestock designations. Training. These are. Huh. Should be there, right? Am I blind? Restrict animals to area, mark to slaughter. Training. What just happened? What just happened? Ooh, Red Elf is here. I think. He's following me at least. That's something. Thank you, Red Elf. Not actually in chat, but he might be watching. Cool. Hi there. Welcome back. Yeah, we were just looking over how I'm going blind, because there should be an option here for send to shearing area, etc. But it's not there, which is interesting. So if it's milkable or shearable, and if it should be right below butchering. Butchering, train, nothing, training. No, it should be in between there. So it's not showing up. That's obvious because these chickens are neither milkable nor shearable. I'm such an idiot. Where are the muffalo? Alright, yeah. Slaughter, milked, sheared. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now we need to look at, and this is saying 94% yeah, fullness or grown. I will change those labels. That's not the point. I don't like that because that's assuming, yeah, like what's his name? Somebody pointed out, yeah, Dundee's pointed out that's different for different types of animals. So ideally, I want it to be time-based. And I think if we're going to do it time-based, then it should be based on the interval of the job. So if this job is being done every 8 hours, then if within the next 8 hours this animal needs to be milked or shorn, then we should be looking at that. Now, granted, I'm not sure how often animals are actually need to be milked. Because real life cows and stuff will be milked twice a day, right? Which might be a little bit often, and then you'd basically do that job every single time. That said, that would just be up to the player to time it properly. I think that's a sensible default. That's just because otherwise, I mean, if it actually does go that quickly and you do use 94%, then you have to be within a very small window for it to actually make sense. So I think this is, yeah, this is just better. So then we're looking at the function for that, which I can't seem to find anymore at the moment. Yeah, there we are. So that's undo area restrictions. And then we just need to figure that out. Yeah, fine, fair enough. Manager job, do area restrictions. Then we've got the milking, if this fullness, if... So I need to make... I can do this, right? This is milkable. This has information on. Yeah, gather resources interval days. So this is how in how many days can you actually do that? That's the way I'm reading it. This is all going from a base class that is looking at, yeah, if it's active and if it's full, so that's when you can actually milk it. This is ticks per day, if I'm not mistaken. It's a constant, so it just gets replaced in the source, which is always slightly annoying. Upon utility, body resource growth speed. Okay, so I need to keep that in mind. That's working on a parent. So what is this doing? Is this animal dependent? Are you kidding me? Alright. So there's an animal dependent factor in there based on hunger. That makes sense. That complicates matters. Does it? Really? Does that matter? Because I'm looping over... Yeah, I'm looping over animals anyway, so I have the animal. I know what the animal is. I can calculate that. Yeah, Adolf. Yeah. Is this a pull request to restrict animals to an area when they're ready to be milked or shorn, which is really the same thing. But they're hard coding it to 94%, which I don't like because, as somebody else pointed out, 94% is different for different animals. So ideally you would set it to some time period, and then I figured it's best to do it to the time period that is actually the interval of the job being updated. So all of those are knowns. The animal is a known, so I can just assume that he stays at the same, or whatever, stays at the same level of hunger, and therefore resource production. And then I can put a time period on it, and I can just make a check, like, okay, is this lower than the actual update of the job? Which shouldn't be too hard. Just need to reverse engineer this a little bit. So that's the pawn utility we were looking at, and I've gone right. I was looking at comp has gatherable resource. Yeah. So this is just an on tick. Wow, is that really being done on tick? That seems a little bit excessive. That could have easily been a long tick or even a rare tick. Either way. So yeah, this is just a portion of the resource interval days times the number of ticks in a day. Inverse of that, that's fair. Modified with this hunger offset, and then you just add it. And if it gets over 1, you just cap it at 1. Yeah, sure. That's simple enough. We can easily copy that logic. So let's just add a little utility function for that. We're looking at livestock utilities. There's a bunch of caching for animal dictionaries there and stuff, but we can easily add a little extension here for let's make this an extension for the actual the comp. So we're looking at comp gatherable resource, whatever, and this is going to return the expected number of ticks until it's ready. So we're going to call this ticks till harvestable, and this is going to be on comp gatherable, that one. And the comp has a reference. Why are you complaining? Ticks still harvestable. I don't see the typo there. Yeah. Right. This is not private. This is public. Okay. So we have the current rate of growth. Whatever, doesn't need to be defined entirely. So that's a 1 divided by comp. I was gonna say it already exists, but no, that's what I'm just doing now. Are you telling me that's private? That's going to be private in it. Comp has gatherable body resource, gather resource interval days. Is that private? It's protected. Yay. All right. That might explain why they haven't bothered going for it. Alright, easy enough for us though, because we just use traverse. Create on the comp. We want to get the value of the field. What's it called? That one. Gather resources interval days. And just get the value on that. Okay, and then we know that this is the interval times gen date ticks per day, because we're working with days. And you're not working because there's a float and an object, and you're an object because I haven't cast you to what I want you to be, which is a float. Alright. Next, we have a rate of what it's going to be growing per day. Gather resources is an int. Good point. Thank you. I have to say, it is harder to think clearly when you're also looking at your stream and your stream chat and stuff coming in. This shouldn't really be that hard, but actually the simple math of this is actually making me a little bit confused at the moment, which is a funny feeling. We'll just soldier on, right? Okay, we've got a rate per day, we've got a current growth level, that's just on the comp. Don't even really need that. We need to offset this rate by pawn utility and body resource growth speed. That one. And that's, oh gosh, that should be as pawn, but this is dangerous. Has gatherable body resource, that's almost always going to be a pawn, but let's just make sure that it is. You just started that when I did, didn't you? Yeah, much quicker already. That's yeah, that's good. Comparative coding, right? So the pawn is going to be comp parent as pawn. Yeah, and you don't have an audience. So that, I think that helps. What are we going to do if this is not a pawn? If this is not a pawn, then something has just gone terribly wrong. So we're just going to throw an error. So if pawn is null, then we'll just throw harvestable shoots always be on a pawn. It's not a great. You can't just throw strings anymore, can you? No, I'm thinking JavaScript. I've been working too much JavaScript. And this is going to be argument exception. Yeah, it's bad input. All right. Does it? But the thing with comps is not always a pawn. So why would that always succeed? That always succeeds because if it's not, then I'm throwing already. Okay. Yeah. So is there a benefit of doing it this way? I'm sure you can tell me that, Adolf. Is there a benefit of like doing a direct cast instead of a safe cast? It's probably something with like boxing or something. I don't know. I've never fully understood that concept either. So anyway, we've got the offset, got that offset calculated in there, and then we just need to know the time is just going to be so we can return 1 minus the progress we have already, so that's comp fullness times the rate we have. Am I saying that correctly? No, divided by the rate we have. And all of this should be an int. So we'll just cast it to int. Do we care? Yeah, it's and let's just seal that. Huh? Why are you not returning an int? Because you're doing a double? That one works. Less instructions, so technically better performance. Alright. Yeah, fair enough. I guess you don't have to bother with the safety checks and stuff on it. Right. That is utterly terrible. But it should get the job done. Theoretically. I may actually have to go clean this up off stream because this is horrendous. So then we can say here if tick still harvestable is smaller than the update interval on this job, which is, I have no idea where I'm actually storing that at the moment, which is helpful. Is that on the trigger? That might very well be on the trigger. The trigger config progress bar states no, it's not on the trigger. Where did I put this then? Let me guess, it's on the base manager job. That makes sense. Update interval. Dope. Right, and that update interval is some kind of small thing I have. Right, so if it's going to be within the next update interval, for this current update interval, then we will send it to be milked. And we can just basically copy that for the shareable one because it's exactly the same logic and it's the same it's the same the same comp, the same base comp that we're using. So that should work. Let's give it a shot. Oh, what am I doing? Oops. Help. Yeah, there we go. Didn't want to put that there. Definitely didn't want to put that there. All right. It would be so nice if Rimworld remembered where I put it. How big it was when I put it there. Doesn't want to though. Oh well, that'll do. So now we have these toggles. We can set it on Lego, so they're still there. I can still click them. That works. Didn't really expect that to go wrong, but it's nice that it works. Let's just set them to home to check it and manage those Muffalo. Why did I click that? No idea. Milked, set it to home. Sheared, set it to be home. Manage that. Spawn in some Muffalo. I probably should get some other animal. I'm sure there are other animals that have faster wool growth or something like that, but yeah. Tame them, tame them, tame them. There we go. That'll do. There we go. Got the animals. Lots of chicken, lots of muffalos. Got the job set up. Let's set it to every 2 hours. Let's plop down a manager table. That'll do. Make sure somebody's actually managing. Actually, make sure nobody does anything but manage. Hey, why does that not work? Oh, because I don't have my work tab loaded. Yeah, screw it. That takes too long. And let's speed up time considerably. Sounds like a lot of companies. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Did I say something wrong? Turn off all of this random stuff. I don't want to get berserks and stuff. And fast ecology speeds up time for animals and plants. I think might be just plants, but seems to be also animals. That should do the trick. Make sure nobody's doing anything but managing. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay. Let's just give it a shot. See what's happening. Is anybody getting restricted? Is anybody getting their growth up? Oh my gosh, that's gonna take forever. Is there a way to I don't know, wool? Make that go quicker? Milk? No. What was it again? Yeah, just body resource. Restore body parts. No, that's not it. I don't think there's a tool for this. This is too specific, probably. No, lots of heatives and stuff. Food, chemical. No, those are just the needs. You give them more food, but they should be filled up anyway, so that should be a max speed. Let's just spawn in some other animal that goes quicker. I think they've got like the little rat-like thingies you make fur out of. Probably shouldn't have said it that way. Chinchillas. That's what I was thinking of. There we go. That probably goes quicker. And those have wool, right? I don't even know where that would say it. It says it somewhere. A leather, chinchilla fur. Do they actually not give wool? Oh, for crying out loud. Just tame the little buggers. Chinchilla. Nope, no wool. Well, we can just look at what animal does give wool then. It's not that one. I guess a hare wouldn't give wool then either. Nah. How annoying. Is that really it? There's no sheep in the base game either, so... Interesting. I'll just wait for the damn muffalo. Sorry, I just got a message. No. Just quickly gonna set it to keep going in the background. And then we can keep that running until something happens. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually speed up the animal stuff, because, I mean, we've gone through several years by now. You can see the trees going, but the animals are not doing much. And they are healthy, they're getting their needs met. Food and rest. Muffalo, simple animals, don't need much. Oh, this is one of the reasons why my the Birds and the Bees mod, the mod where I'm working on like sexual interactions and stuff, I don't use it much because it's just an idiotic thing to test, because you just basically have to, there are some options to make animals and humans always do loving, but then you still have to wait until the pregnancy shows up and stuff, and you can check it with the DevTools and everything, but it's still a hassle, and it's just, it's so silly long to test that stuff. This is ridiculous. You have. Did you change those functions as well? Because there's several other mods that also work on it. I mean, I'm actually done. I'm not altering the attraction thing. I'm just using it as an input for how good loving would be, like what kind of moodlets that gives. And it's kind of silly because it also uses fertility and everything. So I've got that mixed up. So people who lose their fertility for old age or whatever also suddenly aren't as good in bed anymore, which is not properly realistic, but whatever. Entirely gold furniture, plenty of the rich food stuff, the royal bed of course, and pawns need beautiful and sanguine. Well, up to the last part, that describes Trump, basically. Sorry, I shouldn't get into politics. I don't want chat going into politics. I shouldn't do it either. I won't do that. It does checks regarding same race. Seriously? I guess it doesn't want animals going with different types of animals and stuff. Ooh, wait. I shouldn't miss it. They're getting up to 98%, which means they should be starting to get their assignments done soon. But I haven't actually seen anybody do the managing job yet. And that's because it's getting paused. Why is it getting paused? Because nothing else is assigned. I have 5 muffalos. I'm asking for 5 muffalos? No, that's not it. Ah, it should just be getting done. Are you guys dead? No, you're sleeping. Worth a shot. They're in a terrible mood though. And they just keep sleeping. I guess they never actually get out of their sleep cycle because time is going too quickly or something? Because they have been on the floor forever. Let's just turn that off, see what happens. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I was thinking, because he's also doing a lot with it, and I remember there being some stuff going on. So the job just got updated, and animals are still not in the home area. That's fine. I set it to 1 hour, so I mean milk fullness is now rather high, so this should be getting done. What are you complaining about? You're resting. You're not resting. Are you guys all... You're dying of hunger, aren't you? Go eat. Oops. Hey, we got a man in black. That's enough to survive with. And he's a decent manager, so that'll do. So they should be getting moved now. They should be getting restricted to the home area. So I'm not entirely sure why that is not happening. Got loads of debug output from something else. And that's the clock thing I was working on, so I should probably remove that. And then let's add some debug output for what's actually going on here. But first, let's save a test version of this, because I don't want to go through this again. Test milk area restriction. And we'll just set this up to load that. Right, so when I restart it now, it'll just immediately load into the same test game and should be ready to go. First of all, the clock thing I was working on, that is this one, and that has some debug code that is just silly. Let's get rid of that one. Okay. Yeah, this only gets done every once in a while, so that should work. I have a sneaky suspicion that the reason Adolf hasn't sent me his version of the code yet is because I have something wrong, and he doesn't want to show me what I've done wrong until I realize it myself, which is like a classic teaching technique which I would use, and it's just really... Great. Anyway. Let's just debug this stuff. I'm sure I've done something basic wrong here somewhere. So we've got the rate. I haven't used these strings in ages either. Right. It's like the minor differences between programming languages that bugger you up. Because in JavaScript, which I've been working with recently, then string interpolation is like you use these. Yeah, he's waiting until I've confirmed mine is working. Yeah. You interpolate like this, which is like similar but not quite, and it always screws me over because I tend to forget which language I'm working in. So I've got the rates calculated, and let's just check if the interval isn't actually nil, which would be useful to know. Yeah. And why are you complaining? Cannot be added to all that thing. You cannot be 0, you cannot be null, because you would get set to a 0 otherwise, I guess. Which would tell me anyway either that there's something wrong there, so that doesn't matter terribly. I guess this would just set it to the default value for int, which I believe is 0. Or might be negative infinity or something stupid. But I mean, if it's not something reasonable, then we should know that that is not what we want it to be. Okay. Let's restart that. Alright. Now, when he does the managing job, we should get some debug output for that. When he does the... all jobs are done. So he just did the job and nothing happened. Which means that either I'm an idiot, or I've missed something, or both. So this is set. These are both set. This code is saying if restrict to area, so I need to set the main... Are you kidding me? Why? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Because these show up without that. Alright, anyway, but if I do this, then it should work then. That's the lesson here, right? Alright, that's kind of a bug in and of itself, to be honest. What is the update interval? Yeah, it should be ready to be done again. The rate is infinity. Awesome. Well, that says something at least. Why is it infinity? It is positive infinity, right? Not negative infinity. Does that matter? No, I guess not. Whenever you're not sure, just plunk in demug messages until you're sure. Let's just see what it is before we do the multiplication with the pawn stuff. And we now know that this one should be working. They did get assigned, probably because when the rate is infinity, the time until the next thing is 0, so then they always get assigned. Alright, we'll just turn them back. Overwrite the save game because I made a couple of changes. Did I rebuild you? Not sure. Let's just do it again. I'm entirely certain I missed something stupid. It starts off as infinity. Why does it start off as infinity? So this is dividing it. Maybe is that really it? Is that the difference? That shouldn't matter, right? Yeah, because he's just casting this to a float, but it's a float divided by an integer, which turns back into a float anyway. So it's not like I've got integer division here, and therefore it's setting it to 0, and that's some kind of madness. So this is the interval I've got on there. This is the ticks per day. pretty certain about that. Yeah, 60,000, that's the ticks per day. So, what is the interval? What was the interval? Did I miss that? Was that something silly already? Yeah, the interval is 0. Oh, for crying out loud. I told you I'd miss something stupid. Division by 0. Right. So what that tells me is that the, yeah, like I said, that would be 0. I did predict that. So my, my traverse, or that's basically reflection, is not actually fetching the value I expected to fetch. Yeah, I made a silly mistake in this somewhere, didn't I? Like in the traverse call. Please. Yeah. For crying out loud. It's a property. For fuck's sake. Yeah. I've been begging. I really hope this is going to be a thing in Harmony 2, because I've been begging about Brains about this before. Is that because he's basically null propagating. So is like whenever any of this thing anywhere in the chain is null, everything just becomes null. But it doesn't error. And I don't understand why he just doesn't let it error. Why doesn't it just throw an exception, tell you like, yeah, this thing you expected to have a value doesn't? I mean, or at least have like a debug mode in which it does do that, because this is not the first time I've got silly mistakes like this. And it's by design. Anyway. It's a coding style. How is that a coding style? I mean, but then you need to defensively code everywhere and see and check if it's a null somewhere or something. I mean, it seems to me that it's better to error hard than error early, but I mean, yeah. Again. But isn't it much worse if you have a bug you can't trace back? I mean, if you get an exception early, you know what's going on. I guess in an actual deployment, okay, you might want to just ignore it and carry on. But even then, if there's an error, that means something is wrong. Something is not going as expected, which is, especially in a high-stakes scenario, is also a terrible thing, right? Because that just means that you might have a Wall Street trading bot that spends trillions on bad stocks and causes like a micro depression or something. I mean, anyway. Yeah, they're not set to it yet. Let's just wait until he's ready to go manage again, which should be about now. Now we should have sensible. Yeah. All right. I don't like the interval. The interval is just the amount of days per thing. Is that really that low? It seemed like it should be. It feels like it should be higher, but it could very well be. That's entirely plausible. So that just means that it's 2 days for whichever the top one was, milking, I think. Just the one that filled up quicker as well. Yeah, that seems plausible. Which just means that it's growing at 30,000 ticks per day, which is the rate. which means that this thing in this case is actually 0 divided by rate, so this is 0. So this is 0 ticks until we're done. But normally that would be if we've still got like we're halfway full, then that would be a half divided by the rate, which would get us there, wouldn't it? Am I doing this wrong again? I feel like I'm doing this wrong again. This is going to be a tiny number. Yeah, I'm doing this wrong again. It's the rate, because we're looking at 10 ticks. So this is the rate is the amount of ticks per. Why is this so difficult for me? It should be that. Hi there, Morian Rage. Welcome to the chat and the channel. I can't believe I can't actually work this out. I'm actually having like a mind freeze here. Right, this is doing well. We can remove this because that's working now. We are getting. So this is. So this is 2 times 120,000. So this should be a tiny number actually. Or am I just getting crazy here? Or is this interval? No, that interval was 2. We looked at that. That's 2. So why is that not a tiny number? That makes no sense to me. For that matter, why is it not changing? Shouldn't that be changing? I promise you the next ones will be better and I'll be faster and actually able to mod, and this is ridiculous. Okay, so the interval is the gather resources interval days. So that's the amount of days per gathering. That was 2. We've verified that. So yeah, this is just the growth rate per tick. Let's just name it that. There's no misconceptions about this. Rate per tick. Then we're getting the palm. That works, that's fine. We don't need to check this anymore because we know what it does. Except we don't, because I'm doing this like an idiot, and that does matter. Oh my gosh. So now it's actually the growth rate per tick, because what we were doing before. Yeah, I can just work that out. I think I got it now though, because I was just being an idiot before and not remembering the order of operations in Sorry. No. So get the palm. Yeah, that's working, and we're offsetting it. and that's fine. So that's working on the growth rate, and yeah, that should be working. And then we're just saying, okay, this is the growth rate per tick. Yeah, and then we can turn this around again, because then this one actually made sense. Because then we go back to a number of ticks that we've got. Right, so if we fill that in, we say that the interval is 0.5, then the math becomes 0.5 times 60,000. So that would then be our, let's call it rate again, which is actually going to be 1 divided by 30,000. I have no idea what that is, but then we can take that back and say, like, okay, if it takes, so this is saying it takes 30,000 ticks to go from 0 to full. So if we want to go back to ticks, we should not be dividing. No, we should be dividing, because yeah, it's the inverse of 30,000. 1 divided by 30,000. So just to get back to that, we should be dividing. Yeah, this should be correct. Gosh, if my algebra teachers would see me now, they would cry and probably shout at me while laughing very loudly. Wait a little bit again. Yeah, the job is still assigned. Set it to an hour so we don't have to wait so long, and they're ready to get assigned. Let's prioritize that. Yeah, now we get a tiny rate, and we get some intervals and some different intervals, and I'm guessing this is a shearing interval for something, which would be taking 25 days. That makes sense. And then we get a tiny little rate as well. It's just this the yeah, so that's the inverse of the amount of ticks it takes. So that makes sense. They should have been assigned. Most of them were assigned except for Muffalo 2. Yeah, and Muffalo 2 is a male, so that's why we saw the tiny little rate there, because we are only looking at his wool growth and not his milk. And that's also why he was last. Because we're looking at milk first, obviously he's not in that list. And then we're looking at wool, but only for people who haven't been already assigned, right? That should be in here. Yeah, so this is a series of if statements. Okay, I think we cracked that one. Yay! Thanks, Adolf. That was sad. That was terrible. I'm ashamed to have put that online. But that just goes to show you, you can be terrible at math, you can be terrible at basis coding practices, and still put mods out there. And actually put mods out there that people want to use for some reason. So, hey, there you go. Alright. I should probably test that a little bit. Let's just quickly have a look at Adolf has just sent me his version of this code. So this is how a pro would do this. Alright, so he's referencing Palm, which means that we have to do this part as well. But let's give him that. That's a fairly easy part. So he's doing this in a one-liner. He's using an integer and then dividing an integer. Are you really? You are. But it doesn't matter because you're still adding a float in there. So it does go back to float math. I think. Doesn't it have to be the first one? I'm not sure. I'm sure you know better than I do. Then you just math ceiling to int that, which is what I did. So it's the same thing. I spread it out over multiple lines, which is, yeah, unnecessary. But it does help keep things more readable and easier to maintain, to be honest. Probably, maybe, at least for idiots like me. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, he did it in 5 minutes. I did it in, what was that, 45? But it's basically the same thing, so yeah. I mean, there's also not that many ways in which you could have done that, probably. But yeah. Alright. Do we need to test this some more? I'm pretty confident this basic logic works. The assignments seem to work. So I'm kind of okay with just putting this out there as it is. Because that just seems to be working. What I'm not happy with is the fact that we need to set area restrictions for these to show up. Or if we do want to do that, then we need to disable them as well. Like this one is disabled because no training target is set, sure. But then these should be disabled when I disable these, because now it just looks like this should work when it really doesn't. So that's just a fail. I think I'll just relabel this one and break it out into a separate thing, because I don't think we need to do this. I don't see any reason why we need to have that basic toggle set up and make some kind of restrictions there for all animals in a group for the other restrictions to work. That doesn't seem to be logical. So I need to remove that restriction from the actual code. But first, let's commit this. We're working on colony manager changes. We're gonna push to a pull request branch again, which I still think is very weird that we can do that, but whatever. Change fixed percentage growth to time period. That's fine enough. To job interval period. That describes pretty well what we've just done. So let's put that in the pull request. Then we can merge that back in. I'm not sure how this interface works. Is it in branches? I never said I was very good at this. Merge from branch. This is the restrict animal training into current branch. I need to get back to master first. Yeah, this is it one, right? Yeah. A merge operation is in progress and the colony manager will resolve the conflicts in the more. Right. That's probably just the what is that? Oh yeah, that's just the compiled DLL. That's fine. Sure. Just take whatever. It doesn't matter. Commit the merge. Resolve merge. Hey, Code Optimist. Well, I mean, it's an endless job, right? You're always working on your mods. They always require maintenance and things to do, and people breaking stuff, and yeah. So, and something just happened on my stream because I got some kind of sound notification, and I should be able to see that. Code Optimist just followed me. Ha! Thank you. Cool. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're more productive than I am, though, Code Optimist. I just spent an hour figuring out some basic math. Well, lots of people were probably just banging their heads on the wall and going like, oh my god, I can't believe he didn't see that. But hey, it was a start. Let's leave that there for next time. Okay, we got that pushed. Let's change the logic up. This is not in the utilities, this is in the manager job. So currently we're saying do area restrictions, and we're saying like, okay, only if the restrict area, so the main toggle is pressed, which is just too harsh. So instead, we can remove it here. Just loop over all animals and say like, okay, is the slaughter, is it set the slaughter areas, is that set, is the milking area set, is the shearing set, is the trading set, and otherwise, if restrict to area is set and the player settings area restrictions are set, or the area restrictions are not set, blah 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 blah, then you can do that. Right, this is ugly. This is a giant block that should have its own. You were figuring out how to transpile in between scroll view stuff, mainly by throwing garbage at it. Yeah. I have trouble just using that. We were working with it yesterday, and I was explaining like how I always get confused about the out rects and the view rects, and they're named the wrong way around as far as I'm concerned. I can't imagine what it's like having to transpile them. Yeah. What are you trying to do anyway? Right. So what I'm looking for now is, well, basically it not exploding. That would be helpful. So this is, nothing changed here. So this is now actually these area restrictions, that these are all open and allowed even when this one is not, is actually representative of the truth, which is nice. So then let's set these on, and this should now work. So that's how we can test that. So let's make sure you're not assigned yet. We'll just have to wait a little bit for him to be ready to do the job. La-di-da-di-da-da-da-da-da. There we go. And now they should be assigned. Yeah, beautiful. That works. Good to go. You're gonna show me a pic. I'm not sure that will show up in my my side stream thread. You may actually, if you send a link, then it's probably going to bitch about it. I think that does something. Yeah. Haha. It's the first time I actually used that one. You should be able to post a link now. All right. This seems to be working. So let's not bugger around with that too much. Let's have a look at the other pull requests before we send that off. Make area restrictions restriction logic match UI logic. That I understand what that means now. I will have no idea what that means in 5 months, which is not entirely helpful, but it'll do. Right, we have 2 more pull requests on this, if I'm not mistaken. So this one shouldn't be open anymore. Yay, that works. Awesome. I need to refresh that. Restrict hungry animals. I'm really not sure I like this. I mean, yeah, it's cool, but that seems a little bit too much. Oh well, let's have a look at it. So you got the same thing again. You've got a list of areas. Why have you got a list of areas? Don't tell me you're doing this per... yeah, that's your maximum food need. That's fine. That's what you were talking about, so that you can set it to the different... Like how needy are they? You can set a threshold for that yourself. That's fine. I can live with that. Wow, what happened there? Alright, so he broke that out into a different function. Yeah, and he's... Oh gosh, he's doing hunger per group. Oh gosh, that's just too much. Yeah, it's kind of... I'm not sure why it's not going through, Optimist. I probably have a moderation somewhere, because it's still blocking it. I still only get to see the a couple of stars. I don't know if other people see it. I'm not sure why that's going wrong. You can send it to me on Discord if you want, and I'll have a look. Yeah. Sorry, I need to figure that out, I guess. And yeah, Adolf, it is kind of set up so that people can also add their own tabs. Within the tabs, it's not set up for that. But theoretically, you should be able to relatively easy add your own tab and your own kind of job. I haven't actually done that for like within a job, what kind of filters or kind of things you want to use for area restrictions. I didn't really expect that would come up much. I do try and do this, by the way. I do try and make all of my mods as open as possible, so that people can add their own stuff to it. So, for example, the animal tab mod also has filters for filtering which animals you want to show and which animals you want to apply things to, and that is entirely def-based. So you can very easily just add a def with it, with a tiny worker DLL on it that just makes a either a binary or a nominal set of groups, and just splits them into different animals, or pregnant or not pregnant, or whatever you want, really. And you can make that and add it in quite easily, and it should just work happily. That said, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever asked for it. Nobody's ever... But it's possible, which is nice. And it's really not that hard to do, and it also actually... yeah, it also makes your own code more modular and easier to work with, because it forces you to think in I mean, you know this, of course, but it forces you to think in like the common logic behind all of these filters, so that you can try to minimize it to like, okay, what is the base class for this, and work on to that, which is kind of cool. But that's something that comes with experience. So for Colony Manager, actually, this was like my second or third mod that I did or something. And it started with a production tab. which allowed you to set like the for Dwarf Fortress you have the workflow stuff where you can set like, I want 10 tables and 20 barrels being made or something, and then the workflow would just would assign jobs to individual workstations that would get made, and then yeah, it's done. That was the idea. That was basically what this allowed you to do as well. So it just kept assigning the jobs to the different workstations until the number you wanted was done. This was before a time when I think there was a do until X setting, but like a lot of the extra settings that are now available on builds weren't there yet. So it made a lot more sense back then. But it was a horrible piece of mess code. Like everything was one giant spaghetti loop with just huge stretches of giant functions with loads of special cases for different types of categories of things, and it was just a mess to maintain. It was buggy. It was terrible. So I took it out when the builds became more useful and it wasn't actually that needed anymore. And then at some point I was always planning to redo it and do it properly and then make it more useful, and then that just never happened because it's still not working. It's just replacing all links with 3 stars. I don't know why it does that, Code Optimist. It does it on my little like my Restream chat filter, but it does it also on my Twitch chat thingy. So I'm not sure why it does that, but I can see it on Discord, so I should be able to pop that over. Yeah, you've got a fair few scroll areas there of your own. Damn, that's a lot of buttons and fields. Is this to filter? Yeah, it must be, right? Filtering apparel for lots of stuff? That's pretty cool. Yeah, thing filter small. So yeah, you did the one on the left, because that one is better than the one on the right. Because the one on the right is lazy. They don't have an offset for the scroll bar. All right, that's really cool. I like things that allow you to be really modular about it, as long as it's not always in the way. But yeah, having the freedom to set things the way you want to is always good, I think. Anyway, back to where we were. We've pulled this in. So we should be able to just have a look at that. I just built that version. I don't think I'm going to accept this. At least not like that. I mean, I can do that, but let's just have a look at how it looks like. I've purposefully refrained from doing all of the area restrictions by like age, sex, gender, etc. Simply because it gets too much. So yeah, you're looking at restrict by area there. And why is there not a hunger thing here? Why are you... Oh, because I haven't actually... Duh. Right, let's actually build that version. And then try it again. And yeah, I know, Code Optimist. Testing is... I generally have like, especially when I'm doing more complicated UIs, I will have like multiple multicolored boxes around everything and stuff just to keep an eye on where everything is. Doesn't have to be pretty as long as it's functional. You can always work on making it pretty later. Anyway, So we've got the restrict animals to area. That's doing the whole adult, female, juvenile, male split. Then you've got the slaughter things that are not split up for that. And then you've got the hungry ones, which are. And you can say the animal food need. Yeah. I mean, that looks fine. But if we look at that for Muffalo, then you can say, okay, this is restricting the animals to area, you can split them up. So this is useful to prevent them getting babies. Then for slaughter, it doesn't matter anymore, because they're not getting babies. Yeah, we can't see the wool and milk here because that's not in this pull request. But yeah, that would be there as well, otherwise. So then we've got like 5 different area restriction versions. And if you look at it this way, then the wool and milk should also have their own 4-way split, because they can still like intermingle and stuff, so you should theoretically be able to set your own. No, I'm not sure. What do you guys think? It feels like this is too much. Yeah, it's. I recently found out about the tweak values, Erdov. It's really. I've been using them a little bit for the power cleaner thing I showed off yesterday to just to tweak the speed and size of the water modes. Yeah. Right, I think that's what I'm going to do. But it's terribly useful. It's new though, isn't it? It's relatively new, the tweak values, because I never saw that like a couple of years ago. Would have been useful before. All right. So this was the other one, and we've already accepted that one and put it in. What is this? Yeah. Hi, Dan Diaz. Oh, thank you for your for the suggestion and implementation. As it is, I cannot accept this pull request. I've deliberately, I'm just going to explain what I talked about before, that I'm deliberately not doing this. Kept the other restrict options simple, adding per gender age box to each of them would overly complicate the tab. I'll be happy to accept. Do I want to accept the one just for hunger? I mean, that also seems like what use case is there for that? So I'll just ask him for a use case. Willing to accept a simpler toggle for restricting hungry animals, provided you can give me a good use case for it. Yeah, could you, having dedicated... Yeah. Dedicated eating areas? You could have like a stable or something. You can have them out in the field, and then I guess during winter or something, it would be useful. You can just keep them outside. When they get really hungry, you can put them in the stable for a bit until they're not hungry anymore, and then they get booted outside again. But why wouldn't you just keep them inside anyway? They ate the grass way too quickly. That is true. And they also, when they're only tiny bit hungry, they eat a whole patch of grass, even though they don't need to, which is a known problem, and there are actually mods that fix that specific issue. I'm just, yeah. I'll just... Yeah, but that's always the problem. There are always use cases for this particular thing, and there's people who highly automate their entire colony, and they also use like the machine. Oh gosh, there's various automation machines that like automatically farm and stuff like that, and then you've got the conveyor belts, and then some people use the manager to fill in some of the gaps and do some of the higher level management. That's awesome, but then you also get these people asking you like, yeah, can you do this very specific thing? And it's like, yeah, I could. I mean, it wouldn't possibly even be that hard, but nobody else would ever use it, so, and I would never use it, so I just don't want to spend my time on it, to be honest. It feels a little bit harder to do that when somebody's actually already taken the time to implement it. So I'm not just saying like, yeah, I don't feel like doing that, so I'm not going to, which I'm fine with. It's a little bit harsher to say like, yeah, I appreciate that you've done that, but no, which is kind of, yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at the bug he's looking at. Yeah, okay, so that's the one that I just fixed. Yeah, okay, cool. Bug. Independently. Alright. Is that actually listed as a bug somewhere, or did we just find something new? Allow meals in hunting threshold. Yeah, that was somebody asking for it. I need to look into that. Although that's probably just somebody using the job interval set way too low, so it's doing it every hour and it's doing a difficult job, and then it takes a lot of performance. Like, yeah, sure, of course. Foraging jobs ignore threshold. I wasn't able to verify that. This is old. Okay, that's a shame. You fix a bug and nobody actually reported it yet. Right. Let's get back to master branch. Yeah, we can stash those, because those are just the changes that the automatic build process made. Then we're back on master branch, and we should be able to release this. I did a release script from Visual Studio Code, because I still haven't figured out how to do an integrated terminal in Visual Studio itself. I'm sure it must be possible, but they've made it way too hard. So, and I use this to look at translations and stuff anyway, so. So this is, he helped a little bit on the other one as well, so we'll give him credit for that. But this is at restricts wool milkable option. And restricts wool milkable option. Is that true? Did he help there, or is it just, I think it just added this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is not true. Damn. You see your bug report on there. Oops. Yeah. I haven't been very active for a while. I'll try and look at it soon. Yeah, we'll have a look at it later. So yeah, these are the change notes for the pull request that I ended up not accepting. So I guess that's kind of a niche situation, but I should probably remove them anyway. So we've removed all of this, basically. Let's just remove that and remove them from there, which feels a bit harsh, but yeah, fair enough. And they should be removed from here as well. There's this kind of weird dual system that I've got going at the moment, because this one is used for the change node for Steam, and this one is used for the change notes for the forum page. They're kind of basically doing the same thing, but yeah. So these are just the various things that he did. Yeah. I'm confused why the wool milkable thing isn't showing up here. Let's update it. Maybe it's going to show up now. No, it's just going to give us a terrible error because about is got a merge. Yeah, okay, so this is the stuff I expect to see. It's crapping out because of an unencoded. What? Why? I'm pretty sure that's in the about, but yeah, it's putting the change note in the about. No, what? Let's find out. Ah. Never mind. Do that again. Sometimes I don't understand where the good stuff comes from, but that seems to have worked. So, release that. Don't need anything special for that. Okay. You have a system image just like that, but written in Python and with YAML. Are you talking about the release script? Is it really just like mine? Does it do all of that? Is it make a release on Steam Workshop and on GitHub and update your forum front page? Fair enough. I'm sure Jackwell does. Yeah, but he has a Patreon. I don't. And he's also modding a lot more than I am. I think. He used to be, at least. And I think he nicked mine. Or at least he saw mine. I think I was talking with him about it at some point, but I'm not entirely sure anymore. Anyway, it doesn't matter either way. I've shared it before with some people. Yeah, yeah. I got terribly annoyed with even just keeping my forum page in check. That was the most annoying part, and like the Steam and GitHub releases and stuff, and that I automated fairly soon, and then the only thing that was left is like keeping the forum post updated. So I spent quite a bit of time basically hacking into it. Yeah. Just Discord it to me, Code Optimist. I have to look at that at some point, but I'm really not sure why it's doing that. But yeah, anyway, I was talking about the. I got the releases working fairly early, and I did it with. I started with Steam Command, which works, but was really annoying because you have to keep logging in yourself. So now I'm actually doing it with the. I made a little C# library that just has like the Steam Workshop thing loaded, so Steamworks library loaded. And that just hijacks your existing Steam instance basically. So it just thinks that that is RimWorld, and then it uploads it through there, which is much nicer because I don't have to log in anymore, or I only have to log in once. And otherwise, I could either be logged in into my release script or into my Steam client, which is really annoying. So that was fixed, and then I spent quite a long time trying to interact with a forum that doesn't have an API. So you're looking at like scraping the website, getting the login form, logging in, and then like handling the cookie, and then actually posting the thing and stuff. But yeah, that was it was an interesting thing to figure out. The only problem with it is that I tried to share it with some other people because I mean I'm not the only one who's interested in this stuff. It didn't actually work for them, and I don't think it's ever worked for anybody else except for me for some weird reason, because it's not like this is hard coded for me or something. So, but yeah, as long as it works for me, I'm happy about it. So, anyway, that's handled the pull requests that we wanted to look at. And yeah, Adolf, you do only lose like 1 or 2% of your audience without the actual Ludian forums these days. But I'm still from a time where where the forum was important, and I know that's outdated, but oh well. So what are you looking at here? Yeah. So yeah, it's on Steam audience. What are you talking about with the settings though? Yeah, the Hogslip notifications, I still want to look at those. I don't like that I have to be dependent on Hogslip to do them. As far as I can tell, I can't just add them and then they'll show up if Hogslip is there. Just feel silently. Feel silently if Hogslip is not there. As far as I could see, it would feel hard if Hogslip is not there, which is just annoying because I don't need any other part of Hogslip. And I know that most people will have Hogslip, but I don't want to assume that everybody does. But I really like the update notifications, and I'm not currently doing them. And I want to be doing them. But yeah, I need to have a look at that. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah, but that's the thing, Code Optimist. I mean, I like the news feature as well, and I would, if that was just a separate DLL or something, I would even include it with my mods. And yeah, just use that. But I don't want to include all of Hogslip. I mean, you're not supposed to anyway. So then you're looking at having a hard dependency on Hogslip. And I like using Hogslip myself, but I don't want to assume that everybody else uses Hogslip. Yeah. I mean, I like being on the Ludian forums as well, Erdolf. I mean, I haven't actually been active there in a while, but it's a different community. It's like the old timers a little bit more. Yeah, it's just a little bit more like hardcore RimWorld people, whereas the Steam community is sometimes a little bit more just generic gamer, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to explain, but it's nice. You get a different type of feedback there. Yeah, this looks nice. I'll have to look into that sometimes. I want to clean up my release script anyway, because right now it's private code, because it's a mess. There's lots of chained together things that only work on my particular system. I try to break out some of the modules. So the forum posting module I was talking about, that's actually a separate module that's on GitHub and you can use if you want to. The little thing that does the Steam Workshop releases, that's a little thing. It's a little tool that you can also just download and run for yourself. But the overall script that binds everything together is just it's not currently shared, which is a shame because I mean I really like it. I'm proud of it. It works really well, so I should share it, but I can't at the moment because it's just yeah, it's too entangled with my settings and my computer, so I need to fix that up. Anyway, it's almost 10. I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. We've done the pull request that I wanted to look at. We rejected. We did 1 out of 3, and the other one, either one we accidentally already fixed, and the other one we rejected. So it's not terribly productive, but hey, we got them cleared out anyway. I'm just gonna keep this one open for now because I want to see what what's his name? Why does it not say his name on here? Oh yeah, there you go. Nundies. What Nundies is going to do about the yeah, simplifying it. And I think I'll just let it linger for now. Maybe move it into future. Does that close it? No. And then next time we'll move on to the issues because I've got loads of issues. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in again. I'll probably be here again tomorrow. I'll figure out during the day what time, maybe 8, 9-ish. Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you guys, and hope to see you guys again soon. Bye bye. I still haven't set up the hotkeys for this stuff. I need to set up the hotkeys. See ya.